everybody, and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well. And today we'll be talking about how New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, Mr. Grandma Killer himself, has apparently greenlit the reopening of cinemas in New York City after over a year, it seems, of the theaters having been closed and shut down and businesses having been destroyed. And as I had mentioned previously, grandparents being murdered by his own policies, he has found it in the goodness of his own heart, obviously seeing that he's kind of on the ropes here. Hey, I need to get some people to kind of like me again. Hey, let me reopen the movie theaters. That way you'll go and, watch movies instead of watching news coverage of my stupidity, even though of course no one in the mainstream media is even covering it because they're all on his side. Before diving any further into this story, please be sure to smash that like button and please support me over on platforms like Minds.com and Odyssey, because YouTube sucks. And I'm sure you were here on the last stream that I did, but YouTube has indeed given a strike to my second channel, the OMB Report. I cannot upload to that channel for the next several days, cannot live stream, cannot even post on the community tab over there, all because of stupid political reasons. But please support this channel and that channel over on Odyssey and over on Minds.com, because alt tech is the place to be. So anyway, let's go ahead and dive into the story from Deadline, which of course broke a few days ago, and that is that New York Governor Andrew Cuomo on Monday said movie theaters in New York City will be brought into line with the rest of New York State as of March 5th, when they will be allowed to reopen at 25% capacity with no more than 50 people per screen, masks, social distancing, and other protocols. Yes, that's right. We're going to put it a limit at 25%. However, if 25% is over 50 people, no, you can't do that. The sad thing about all of this, in my opinion, is the fact that you're probably going to have cops, Praetorian Guard types, who are going to be at the theater to make sure that this is actually being followed, and you're probably going to have a bunch of Karens going out of their way to say, I think there's 51 people in here, and call the cops and try and shut the theaters down, because these people just don't have any lives, and it's very sad, and they deserve all of our prayers and sympathy, because seriously, it's just get a life. There's so much more to live for, and it's about time that our economy just reopens already. And seriously, honestly, Cuomo, you think that people are going to want to go to a theater where they're not going to have really the same movie-going experience, and also you're going to ask them to wear a mask the entire time that they watch a movie. At least most other states have it right, where they say, hey, as long as you're buying a popcorn and drink, you can take it off, and then we're not going to, go crazy and make sure and monitor that your mask stays on when you're between bites, right? Because obviously they're letting people be people. They're letting people make their own choices, which is about what free will and freedom of speech and assembly I thought we're all about, but apparently this pandemic has shown us that our rights really don't mean a whole lot. It goes on to say the guidelines include air filtration and purification standards previously specified by the Department of Health. Yes, you mean things that have been done by several theaters now for the past several months? Yeah, I guess Andrew Cuomo is just, again, trying to put anything and everything out into the news that will distract away from the fact, and I will say it again, that his policy killed thousands of elderly people. Thousands of elderly people. He essentially is a killer. Officials at Cuomo's press briefing today said no COVID-19 testing will be required, as is the case for large arenas like Madison Square Garden and Barclays Center that can reopen later in February. Cinemas in New York City will follow the same guidance put in place for movie theaters in the rest of New York State back in October. It's kind of insane that theaters were allowed to reopen in other parts of New York in October, but they couldn't do the same thing for New York City. Again, the rest of the country has been slowly getting back to work and has been doing a much better job of it. Go ahead and look down to Florida. And also, they have not actually killed grandma in the process, Mr. Cuomo. Yeah. And if you think it's getting old, hey, media's not covering it. So, hey, on my little YouTube channel, I'm going to continue to cover it, because it's kind of important to know that that man is responsible for the death of thousands of elderly people. And oh, but hey, he's throwing a bone to movie theaters here. We got to give him some love and support for that now, can't we? Oh, man. Keeping one of the nation's biggest movie markets dark for almost a full year has crippled global theatrical release schedules. As COVID rates fall, recently hitting their lowest level since November before the holiday surge, theater owners had been watching with dismay as other venues in the city were allowed to reopen. Yes. And then over on New Jersey side, the governor there stole someone's money who was suing him because they wrongfully shut them down. This was the whole gym fiasco over there. Again, gotta love the Cuomo type governors up there in the Northeast. It's almost like they have something in common. I don't know quite what that thing they have in common is, but there's something to be said there, that's for sure. It says AMC Entertainment, the nation's biggest chain and the largest movie theater exhibitor in New York City, said it will reopen all 13 of its locations promptly on March 5th. Governor Cuomo's announcement that movie theaters can reopen in New York City in the first week of March is another important step towards restoring the health of the movie theater industry and our company, said CEO Adam Aron. The company's painful journey to raise the cash needed to stay afloat during the pandemic has been highly public. Yes, indeed it has. And of course, because of the GameStop stock situation, they were able to make, I think, some money, at the very least, to pay off some debts that they owed. But at the end of the day, of course, we know that if the theaters aren't open, people aren't actually going to see movies, and new movies aren't actually coming out, the market kind of ends up just sitting and dying in the process. But don't worry, Andrew Cuomo is here to save the day, everybody. 25% capacity. Oh, and by the way, don't forget, you also have to wear a mask the entire time you're watching the movie. Yeah, sure, everyone's going to, again, want to do that, while all other parts of the nation have kind of moved on from this. Also, don't you love how they can't really explain why the numbers of COVID are going down all of a sudden? It's kind of a miracle, right? They've already confirmed that it's not the vaccine. It's almost as if flu season, we saw a huge influx of cases, and now the flu season's ending. Oh, now we're not seeing a huge I don't know. Just some quick words here. And YouTube censors, screw you. I don't care about you anymore. That's why I'm pushing people over to odysseyandminds.com, because I don't give a damn what you have to say about my thoughts. AMC Entertainment, the nation's biggest chain and largest movie theater. I already said that. That's just how crazy I am. It is very sad, though, that CEO Adam Aron of AMC didn't take that moment to just, shove it all in his face, shove it all in Cuomo's face. But of course, why would he do that? AMC shares surged nearly 15% during Monday's session and 7% late trading. Cinemark and IMAX followed, both closing up about 6%. Marcus gained 4%. Obviously, do not forget the fact that Regal cinemas, to my knowledge, are still closed or vastly closed. Cuomo announced the reopening news early in the briefing without a date attached. So those on the call, including NATO New York president and CEO of family-owned Bowtie Cinemas, Joe Masher, and other industrialites who had waited so long already, had to wait until the end of the call when a journalist asked. Cuomo didn't have the date, but another official did. Really, Cuomo? What is your purpose again? It says here, quote, with New York City reopening, the studios will hopefully have more confidence to keep their release dates as planned, which is a huge step in the process of recovery for the entire exhibition industry. He said 25% capacity is problematic for many chains, and NATO is asking and also this is the National Movie Theater chain, this is not the international body known as NATO, is asking the governor's office to increase it in luxury reclined seated auditoriums in the city from 25 to 50%. Those are theaters that have had their capacities drastically reduced by virtue of larger seating. Again, I think that is a very fair point to make. If you have these luxury theaters that are already more space in the first place, it really just doesn't make any sense. Really, honestly, these numbers are arbitrary, right? These numbers are so arbitrary. And at the end of the day, it's just because they want to be able to put something on paper to make it seem like they're actually doing something. But all they're doing is destroying business, destroying our lives, and forcing us to sit in the darkness, as it were. And even though I understand that not a lot of people like the movie theater industry right now, don't really like Hollywood right now, I think that all of us can admit that going to the movies and having that level of escapism is something that is vastly important to a large portion of people, and many people, especially in New York City, have been without this for the better part of a year. Now, many of them have been able to go to things like Netflix and watch things on home theaters, but we all know it's not the exact same as watching something on the big screen. It says, again, 0 cases. Get ready, New York. We're coming back, Masher said. National NATO is in a separate statement emphasized the stringent voluntary health and safety protocols that have made it possible for cinemas across the country to operate safely and responsibly at higher capacity limits for many months without a single outbreak of COVID-19 being traced to movie theaters. And again, voluntary. That's been the big key there. It's been voluntary, and guess what? As they said, there's been no major cases and no major breakouts. And as I've said, I've gone to theaters before where people, as soon as they sit down, they take their masks off and everything is totally fine. But again, Cuomo, New York City, things run a little bit differently up there because it's essentially the mob. And one last time, did I mention that Governor Andrew Cuomo's direct policies led to the death of thousands of elderly people? Yes, that's right, Andrew Cuomo, the murderer. But anyway, what are your thoughts about this? Again, sorry to bring in a little bit of politics in here, but you know what? I'm a little spicy today because it just really grinds my gears about what YouTube and big tech platforms are doing to various channels across the interwebs. They've been censoring channels left and right, it seems, and I can't stand for it. Anyway, you guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Please be sure to smash the like button, and please check out Minds. Please check out Odyssey. There's no real ads over there, and it's just a good time. And seriously, YouTube sucks. You guys are great. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless.